Hey everyone, it's Jennine, your local realtor here in the Edmonton area. Today we're going to look back at what happened in November in the real estate market. Just a reminder, we are only looking at the city of Edmonton itself. As you can see, if you're not familiar with the area, there's different little cities like St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Beaumont, Nisku, Leduc, Spruce Grove. All of these little cities around the Edmonton area. We're not including them in this report, but we do work there, so if you do have any questions about those areas, just let me know. I'm happy to help there. All right, let's jump into it. Detached single-family homes. So in November, 754 sold, 1,619 active listings. So that just means just over 31% sold. So looking at listings versus sold properties, for detached single-family homes, as you can see in November, we do decrease both in listings and sales. It's quite normal for this to happen at this time of year. However, if you can see, the new listings versus sold, it's almost the same amount. So that could end up leading to inventory problems, as we have been seeing a lot here lately. I think it is going to continue to be an issue going into the springtime. So if we look at last year, there was a bigger gap between new listings and solds. So there was more inventory. Again, looking this year, we're almost tied at the amount of new listings coming up versus how many are sold. And that's kind of been the story for a while. Low inventory, lots of demand, which is increasing our pricing. So even though we have dropped month to month, it's quite normal going into the winter months to see this kind of jump or drop month to month. However, we are still up year to year. So we are up just almost 12% or just over 11% with an average price of $526,000. So this price keeps going up mostly due to lack of inventory, like we are kind of seeing, and just lots of demand. So let's look at the prices throughout the year and compared to other years. So as you can see, we've been pretty much above previous years. So we kind of see that dip that we do every year or every time around this year. It's pretty normal. So what is selling? What kind of range is selling? If you look here, the most popular amount is between 300,000 to 500,000. Even with the 300,000, you'll see there's just no inventory between 300 to 400. The sales are outpacing that amount of listings. And between 400 to 500, they're getting close. So as soon as you cross the $500,000 mark, you'll see there's a lot more inventory versus sales. So that range between 300 to 500, lots of demand and very little inventory. And I think we're just going to continue seeing this trend. It's really hard to say, you know, there's a lot of discussion around interest rates. We have a new president down south, so lots of different factors happening. It should be an interesting year coming up. Months of inventory. So typically, you want about a four months of inventory to be in balanced market. Anything over 4 is going to be a buyer's market. That means there's lots of inventory for buyers to choose from. Anything under 4 is going to be more of a seller's market. So not a lot of inventory, not a lot to choose from for buyers. So if you're looking back to that $300,000 to $500,000 range, the 300 to 400, we're less than 1 month's worth of inventory. And for 400 to 500, we're just over 1 month of inventory. So that is causing a little bit of a problem in the market. All right, looking at days on market. So the popular range is between around 30 to 40 days. And the rest of them are basically between 40 to 50 days on average on market. We are still seeing some properties going at or over list price. The popular range between 30 to 35% of them are going at or over list. And everything else is between around the 20%, 10 to 20% mark. I do anticipate this will especially the $300,000 to $500,000 range will continue to grow in percentage at selling at or over list as we get into the new year, closer to spring. Duplexes and townhomes. So we have 336 sold and 606 active listings, which means about 35, almost 36% sold. Looking at the new listings versus sold, so very similar to the detached single-family homes, we see a decrease in activity around this time of year. It's very normal. However, it is also the same kind of situation where the solds and the listings are getting pretty close, meaning that the sales are almost on track, on the same pace as the new listings, meaning not a whole lot of inventory. If we look at last year at this time, you will see a bigger gap between the new listings and the solds. So again, same kind of story. The month-to-month average price has dropped slightly, but we are still at just over 8% year to year. And remember, with these properties, the duplexes and townhomes, there's two types. There's some that are in your condo and a condo board, and then there's some that are freehold, so not in a condo board. Usually the condo properties will be a little lower in price than the freehold properties. So this is just a very general look. As always, I always suggest, if you are looking into this kind of thing, look specifically at the property itself, at the neighborhood, at the street, at the community. There's always a lot of different factors that play into pricing. So let's look at the pricing overall. As you can tell, we are going into that slight dip that is very normal for this time of year. However, we still are higher than the previous years. What is selling in this range? So, as you can see, up to the $200,000 range, the sales are outpacing new listings. So there is a big demand in that market. Those are usually lower priced townhomes. And then between 200 to 400 is also popular, and it kind of drops off from there. So looking at how much inventory we have, again, if you want a balanced market, you're looking at 4. So anything over 4 is going to be a buyer's market. Anything under is going to be more of a seller's market. So again, that up to that $200,000 range, we are low on inventory, less than a month's worth of inventory. As soon as we cross that 500,000 mark, we are looking at more inventory. So days on market, it is kind of averaging between 30 to 40 days on market, which is pretty common. And how much is selling at or over list price? In the 200 to 400,000, you're seeing a little bit more going at list or over asking price. Apartment style condos. We have 260 sold and 972 active, meaning just over 21% sold. So less sales in this division, which is pretty common. Again, same kind of trend. We have a decrease in activity both in listings and sales around this time of year. When we look at 2023, it was the same type of thing. So the average price has dipped month to month, but year over year, we're over 10% higher than we were this time last year. And if you look at the average price, you'll see we're going through that slight dip down. So what is selling mostly for apartment style condos? You're going to see it up to the $200,000 range. Everything else starts to drop off a little bit. Months of inventory. We do have more inventory in this style. However, we are seeing our inventory drop just a little bit for up to $200,000 mark. We are seeing more sales in that range. This style of property does take a little bit longer, so you're going to see an average of usually between 40 to 50 days. And not as many selling at or over list price, so around the 10% mark. So that was a very, very general overview of the market right now. As always, I always suggest make sure you're looking at the specific property, street, neighborhood, community, area, because all of those factors do make a difference. So what does this all mean going into next year? I think we'll continue to see a little slowdown as we head into the holiday season, but I do think we are going to see a busy spring. I think it might start early into the year again. It's hard to say, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now. So anyways, if you have any questions about this, or if you want to go over it a little bit more in detail, let me know. Drop me a comment, send me a text, email, whatever works. I'm always happy to help. Until then, see you next time.